Welcome to the Brewery Adventure. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Dan. We're here to dive into the world of your local brewery.
It's not just about the beer. It's about the vibe, the people, and the stories behind every tap room.
From small neighborhood spots to big bustling brew houses, we'll bring you along for the ride.
So grab a pint and join us on the Brewery Adventure. Cheers.
Each time that gets more and more magnificent for various reasons.
I mean, if we ever do just a smooth run of that, Dan, it's time to retire.
Yeah, we got to keep it consistently, not just one take.
What's the fun in one take?
It was funny when I was down at Little Thistle recording. They were like, "We have a rule: everything happens in one take." And I was like, "Wow, that would be interesting." And they're like, "You should consider that rule for your podcast." And then I thought to myself, if I just pressed record and didn't have to edit, podcasting would be so easy.
It'd be so easy.
It could just be, if it was socially acceptable to leave all the weird things you cut out in there, that would be marvelous.
I mean, honestly, we don't cut out that much.
That's true.
Just every once in a while when you toss out a really bad word accidentally.
That happened one time.
But it was great.
Never talk about pumpkins again.
So, Dan, we are here at LTD Brewing in Hopkins, Minnesota.
It has been a long time since I've been here. We used to come here all the time. We're talking maybe it's been 10 years since I've been here. How long have they been open?
You're asking me questions I don't know the answer to.
Because they opened up shortly, like maybe 2012 or 2013. I remember we would come here when I was coaching soccer, and my last year of coaching soccer was 2015. It's been a minute. This tap room always feels cozy to me. It's not that big of a space, and I think they have it laid out really well. And I think the bar is really cute. It's like it's a neat space.
I love the spot where you walk up to the bar with the big purple letters over. Like, that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dan, what are you drinking?
So I was a little flummoxed when I came in here because they do have a lot of beers on tap, and the server, quite prompt, almost surprised me. I went with the Hundhoek, which is a German-style Pilsner. It's okay. I think it could be. It has a weird, I don't know if it's like a metallic twang to it, but it doesn't finish very like a Pilsner should. There's not a whole lot of crispness. I'm not getting like a ton of malt, but it's fine. I don't know that I would order this again. Maybe it's probably me. I probably chose the wrong thing. She did say that there were 2 German Pilsners on tap, which in my mind I was like, why would you do that? But then I look up there and they're calling one of their German Pilsners a Fest beer, which if you're a BJCP person, you might not agree with that because those are 2 different categories of beer, but whatever. I'm not going to yuck somebody else's yum on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
I was also a little flummoxed because she also was on me as soon as I
Johnny
came in the door,
on the spot.
which is amazing.
Boom, right here.
Yeah.
Prompt service.
Yeah, you do not have to
There's
wait
some
for
places
beer here.
you just wait and wait and wait and you watch things happen around you, but not here. They are on it, which is a great sign of hospitality.
Yeah.
And the server was very helpful. She could tell I was a little flummoxed. She's like, if you need a minute, that's fine. You could also do a flight. And I was like, no, I just need to figure out which lager I want. I think what she meant to say, maybe she meant to say, no, I don't know what she meant to say. But so the German Pilsner. I
had the same problem looking at the board and having a moment of panic that I need to order right now. And the first thing I saw was blood orange, so I just went with the blood orange IPA.
Yeah, which is good. I had a sip of yours. That's good. Blood orange and IPA, that's a nice combo.
Yeah.
I like that flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm already lining up like what I'm having next.
Yeah, I think I don't know, based on how the German Pilsner is, I was thinking Marzen, but maybe that might, I don't know, maybe I've never heard anybody speak of this place as a location to seek out lagers, so maybe that's the issue. I don't know. They got a West Coast, a wet hop West Coast IPA. Maybe I should try that. It's definitely wet hop season. Fresh hop, wet hop, all the hops,
All the hop.
Actually, I'm very excited. Unmapped is releasing their wet hop beer where they get the hops from Dan Gladden's hop farm. Which, if you're listening and you're like, who's Dan Gladden? You clearly were not in Minnesota in the late 80s and early 90s when the Minnesota Twins won 2 World Series championships.
Okay, I had no idea what that
Gladden
reference was for.
Was on both teams. Fun fact, Dan Gladden is one of 7 players who were each on the 87 and 91 teams. Dan Gladden, Randy Bush, Kent Herbeck, Greg Gagne, Kirby Puckett, Al Newman, and there was one more.
Dan, I feel like I know you're a baseball guy, but then all of a
Yes.
sudden you start doing this, and I'm like, no, you're really a baseball guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of my first love.
Oh.
Now I'm trying to think who the seventh player was. Gene Larkin. That's who it was. How could I forget? Gene Larkin had the game-winning hit in 1991. One of the best Game 7s ever. A 10th inning thriller where St. Paul's own Jack Morris went 10 innings of no-run baseball to beat the Atlanta Braves, who at the time were a very up-and-coming team. I think baseball historians will look back at the Atlanta Braves franchise and wonder how did they squander so many opportunities. They had one World Series pennant to show for all those years of pitching dominance in the National League, but I digress. We could do a baseball podcast, too.
I was just thinking, instead of you taking on like a second beer podcast, maybe you should have done a baseball podcast.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of those out there, but I think I know more about beer than I do baseball.
I mean, I feel like we should be able to measure that somehow, right?
Yeah, trivia questions.
Trivia questions.
I
think you're going to define it both.
Yeah, maybe. What do you think of your Blood Orange IPA?
I like it. I've had this beer here before.
Okay.
They've had that one.
Before we started recording, you mentioned you usually get yours in a big cup.
Well, yes. If you look
bigger
at
than
my
a pint?
glass, my glass is bigger than your glass by about 4 ounces.
Oh, so are you a member? Are you part of a membership program
I
here?
am part of the Sip Club. Super important person.
Oh, well, jeez Louise. We should have led with that.
Wow.
Here I am rambling on and on about baseball trivia, and you're a sipper.
I'm a sipper.
That's exciting. How long have you been in the Sip Club?
I think I joined in January or February. It was like a flat fee, $50 for the whole year.
Oh, that's not bad.
And these guys are close to home, so
Yeah. It's nice to support the local spots.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been around for quite a while. As long as I've kind of been into beer, this place opened up shortly thereafter. So it's a neat neighborhood spot. I think they do a lot of stuff with the community. There's always so if you're listening to this, I also teach in Hopkins at Hopkins High School, and I know they do a lot of fundraisers for sports and clubs and music programs and things like that. So they're a very good community spot here in Hopkins, Minnesota, which if you've never been to Hopkins, Minnesota, there's a lot of really cool indie shops here. They do not really allow chains on Main Street.
I love the Main Street area of Hopkins. It's always super fun. And their community involvement, I think it's Monday nights. They kind of rotate a different charity that comes in. There's donations made that night. I think part of the proceeds from beer sales go to the charity of the week.
Yeah.
So that's always fun to see.
I think it's good when a brewery can connect with their community in that kind of a way, because it gives people a reason to come and support.
Yeah.
In addition to just wanting a place to hang out and chill. One year we had our fantasy baseball draft here, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
They also have a popcorn machine, which is not at all conducive to a podcast because it's an ASMR nightmare.
I really thought about going to grab some popcorn before we started.
Popcorn is one of those things I can't really eat around other people because I'm like the trash compactor from Star Wars. I just go to town on it. So
I mean, as soon as we're done recording, though, Dan, I'm running over to that popcorn machine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
happening.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, we had another weekend of Oktoberfest.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I think
Friday and Saturday was
we're
really
like
fun.
Oktoberfest professionals now.
Well, yeah, except neither of us has ever been to Germany's Oktoberfest.
Oh.
So I feel like we have to reserve that title for the folks who have been there, done that.
We're semi-professional.
We're like AAA
Yeah.
Oktoberfesters. Yeah. Friday night?
Friday night, Waldman
Brewery over in St. Paul, which, fun fact, is one of the oldest establishments in St. Paul. It was a lager house saloon, a lager saloon back in the day, back before there was even a paved road. West 7th used to be called Fort Road because it was the place where you'd go from Fort Snelling to downtown, and once St. Paul was picked as Minnesota's state capital, which actually, did you know, fun fact, St. Peter was almost picked as the state capital.
Oh.
Yeah.
That'd be very different.
That would be very different. So Waldman started a lager saloon back in the day. Then things happened and it went away, but the building had been there for a long time. The front part where we walked in is the original lager house. Upstairs were Anton and Wilhelmina Waldman's bedroom. I know this because I did a podcast there about a year ago. Well, no, last November with Tom and the head brewer Matt. And the owner, the proprietor, Tom, is a historian. He's a lawyer, and he takes special interest in preserving old historical buildings.
Aww.
He lives, you can see his alley from the upstairs window. So he lives in the neighborhood, and I think he's such a great great person to want to put in the effort to bring that place back.
Yeah.
And what that's turned into is really, really special. It's a phenomenal brew pub, and their food is great, and their beers are just spectacular if you are looking for classic, perfectly brewed beers.
Yeah.
You know, they do not do hazy IPAs. They do a hazy beer. It's called a Hefeweizen, the OG hazy beer.
And it's delicious.
And they don't mess around with stupid adjuncts and dumb stuff. They have horizontal tanks. It's just beautiful. And Matt Anhalt, their head brewer, is a dynamo when it comes to really nerding out about brewing techniques and understanding how to create those flavors. The key ingredient is time.
Oh.
And they have the ability, because they're a brew pub and they're not beholden to a production schedule of sending 6-packs and 12-packs out the door. They can really let the beers take their time, and it's really special. So we'll put a link to that show,
absolutely,
that episode in the notes, so people can go and hear that interview with Tom and Matt. And also, one thing we'll get to later in the episode is Waldman is a brew pub, and those are kind of becoming more in vogue in recent times for a lot of reasons that we'll talk about later.
Yes, we will. I like the first time that I was at Waldman, I was able to walk around. I feel like you're in a house.
Yep.
It feels like you're in a house, and you can walk around in there. They have it decorated, and they've got stuff out on display, like old antique kind of things.
Yes.
It's very fun to take a walk around that space and see all the little details.
You feel like you're stepping back into a different historical era.
Yeah.
Because they've kept, kudos to them for really doing their research and understanding what that would have looked like, what a lager saloon would have looked like. And they've done a lot to kind of keep that feel. Now, I'm not a time traveler, so I've never been alive during that era, but
what?
I think it was pretty cool. So I love that place. It's great. Great spot.
I love that place too. And this was the first time that I enjoyed their outdoor space. I don't know what it looks like on a regular basis, but the setup that they had for Oktoberfest was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the only difference is the tent. Like, they still have all those tables out there, but there's no tent. But they have a really nice beer garden. A lot of places, like here we are at LTD. They've got a tent. They've got some picnic tables. It's nice. It's a little bit more effort. Some places just place some tables out in the parking lot and put some rope around, and that doesn't really feel authentic or like they really put much effort into it. It couldn't be further from the truth with Waldman, where they've grown plants. There's like little, I don't know, they're not pine trees, but they are those deciduous?
I don't know what kind of trees they are, but they are climbable by small children.
Oh yeah. I was waiting for that kid to just fall and all right, buddy. I was going to get a crock in my beer or something. I was like, oh, what's going on here?
There were tables around that tree, and there was a kid that was frequently up climbing that tree, and it just looked like they were going to fall out onto someone's table, onto a bunch of beers. It looked like a recipe for disaster. It didn't happen. The kid was quite adept at tree climbing and hanging out in trees.
Yeah, they have it's a nice outdoor space to enjoy in the wintertime as the months get colder, which I feel like it's never going to happen because it's going to be 90 tomorrow. And we're recording this on October 1st, 2025, which is ridiculous. But it's great as the temperature dips, they'll have fire pits out there, and it's just a really neat place. Something to have on your social calendar is they do a big St. Nicholas event where St. Nicholas and the Minnesota Krampus Association shows up. Oh my God! If you want to get out of your comfort zone, go check out the Krampus organization. Do you know the legend of Krampus?
A little bit.
So from my understanding, it's a kind of a German thing, but Krampus is like in charge of kind of making sure that kids and stuff are behaving, and if you're naughty, Krampus comes on Christmas and takes you and throws you in a sack and beats you with a stick.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting. Hilarious, and it's really fun. And growing up, in my house, we celebrated St. Nicholas Day. So on December 5th, you would put your shoe out, and St. Nicholas would come and leave you a little present. And I think I must have been 3 or 4. I got an Ewok action figure.
Oh, yeah.
In my St. Nicholas shoe, and that was really exciting. So to this day, every year I put my shoe out on December 5th, and then St. Nicholas comes, and St. Nicholas Day is December 6th, which I believe is a Saturday this year because I already have it in my calendar. I'm going. And they will have Glühwein, which is like a kind of a wine, a warm wine with spices stuff. And if you're a fan of The Office and you are at all you remember the Pennsylvania Dutch Christmas episode, there's Glühwein, and Dwight plays a character, and it's really funny. So all of that kind of combines at the Waldman St. Nicholas Day celebration.
I'm adding this to my beer calendar.
Yes, it's going to be fun. You really let out the clutch too, because it'll be on a Saturday, so that'll be nice. You can have all the Glühwein you want.
Well, for Oktoberfest, they had
we're back.
I think they had 2 different bands playing while we were there, because one seemed they were doing some German and other European kinds of music, and then the next band that came on was doing more cover band music.
Yeah.
Both were fantastic. Lots of people dancing and having a good time.
Yeah, they always have a good musical selection there. I think they always have the little Ukrainian band, and I don't know, that might have been the first band that was on. They do a nice job, and yeah, it's fun. It's a festive atmosphere, and the weather was probably a little bit on the warmest side this year, but I always have fun, and it's just nice it's a good place to gather, and it seemed full but not uncomfortably crowded.
Yes.
There was enough room to spread out. We eventually kind of got a table, and then what I love and what they have here at LTD, they have a fest beer and a Marzen.
Yeah.
And so both of those styles kind of fall under the umbrella of what's called Oktoberfest. It used to be that if a place had an Oktoberfest, 90% of the time it was a Marzen. Fest beers have become more of a thing in the recent years, which I appreciate because they're a little lighter, they're a little less caramely, more bready, and I enjoy that.
I was asking you about this because I feel like when I see Oktoberfest, I have in my head that the Oktoberfest beer is the Marzen, and it's going to be kind of a darker, caramely color. Like I know what I'm expecting if I order an Oktoberfest now.
Yep.
And the Fest beer is kind of a lighter thing.
It's a little lighter, and I think that is more recently kind of the beer styles that they serve at Oktoberfest in Germany. They're a lot lighter, both in color and ABV. Not so much the Marzen. Marzens get almost close to like an amber ale as far as color is concerned. I think they tick up a little bit. This one at LTD looks like it's 6.8%. So that's, I mean, imagine drinking liter steins of a 6.8% beer. The average human would not last very long. So that's when you make real dicey decisions after liters of 6.8. So I think like a fest beer tends to be lower. LTD's fest beer is 6.3. Doesn't sound like a 0.5% makes much of a difference, but it does.
It does.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, so Waldman was fun, hanging out with friends and clinking the steins. Are you sick of the zigga-zagga, oi, oi, oi yet?
Nope.
Okay, well,
Not a thing.
we got one more. We got one more weekend of Oktoberfest. By the time people listen, they're going to miss it. But with this Saturday, we're going to Gießenbräu, and on Friday, we're going to the Twin Cities Oktoberfest, which I think we mentioned on the last episode.
I hope we mentioned
I gave
it.
a plug for that, yes.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
I'm
and that's
trying
at
in
the
my
fairgrounds.
head right now to count all the Oktoberfest that will put us up to, and I'm losing track. Well, a couple of them weren't real Oktoberfest.
Well, yeah. Fulton, Lupulin, Heavy Rotation, Northbound, and then 3 more.
3 more from this weekend, and then 2 more for next weekend.
Yep. So that'll bring our total up to 8, I believe. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad for a couple beer enthusiasts.
And also, I mean, there's a lot going on in the Twin Cities area. There are plenty that we missed and didn't make it to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to get to everything. I guess one of the ones I would have liked to have gone to, but there just wasn't time, was the Forgotten Star. Their Oktoberfest is pretty fun.
I would have gone to Udapils, but...
Yeah, Udapils would be good, except...
Thinking about going to Udapils for an event with the parking situation just gives me hives.
It turns me into old man Bobby and shaking my fist at a cloud. I'm like, why isn't there parking? Because then they, at Udapils, you lose all their parking because they do the event out in their parking lot, which I'm like, okay, great. Now we have to
what little parking you had is now
further.
Gone.
Right, yeah. I'm bummed we missed the broken clock because I was like, is it going to rain? It was like a 50% chance of thunderstorms that day, so that was like a couple Saturdays ago. So, you can't do it all. You can try, but can't.
Maybe next year, Dan, if we want to go to Udapils, our answer is we ride bikes to Udapils, and then we just have to worry about bike parking, which seems
I'm
easier.
sure that is probably even worse than the car parking there, because
no.
there's so many bike nuts that go there. Just like try to find that happy medium. Well, it wasn't necessarily an Oktoberfest situation, but then after Waldman was done, we went over to Bad Weather.
Because it's right there.
Because it shares an alley, which I'm sure most people know. But if you haven't been there and you're looking to knock off two more brewery stops and only park once, go to Waldman and then walk over to Bad Weather.
I have been to both of those breweries prior to this last weekend.
Yeah.
At separate times, and it didn't occur to me until last Friday that they were
funny.
like right next to each other.
They were hop, skip, and a jump. Literally, we could have hopped, skipped, and jumped and found our way to Bad Weather.
I might have actually skipped.
Yeah, I mean, it is
Bad
very.
Weather.
It's a very exciting walk. It's not very long, and I love Bad Weather.
Yes.
I don't know if I maybe am too biased about Bad Weather, but I think Bad Weather I don't think they fly under the radar, but I believe they're underrated. I think sometimes I wonder, like, what's your top brewery in St. Paul? And
It's so hard. There's so many.
It's difficult, but I do find myself when I think about like every category of beer that I like and the beers that they do, it's kind of hard to not think about them.
Yes.
As a place where I always want to go. Their lagers are fantastic. They've got a great kind of old school IPA, Hopkromancer, and a lot of their dark beer, the stout Calamity is really good. They just showed a picture of a bunch of barrels that they got from, I believe it was Jay Carver Distilling out in Waconia. That's what they aged their Calamity in.
Oh.
That beer is really good. Somebody on Minnesota Craft Beer Reddit sub page, whatever that's called, was saying like, where do I go for just like an old school stout? And a lot of people said Bad Weather. They just kind of knock everything out of the park.
Yeah.
I think. And they're super nice and great people and always a good place to go. So
I would like for them to have an NA option of their own.
yeah.
I went to order an NA beer and didn't realize that what I was getting was going to be an athletic beer in a can.
Right.
I was a little bit sad.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because to do an NA beer, you can't really make it at your brewery. You have to make it, you have to send it to ABV technology, which is very expensive. So it's like to make it affordable, and athletic is really good. And I think you can get it in cans and buy a lot of it. Courtney is facially arguing with me right now. I mean, so when I say pretty good, I mean like because alcohol is an ingredient in beer, and when you take alcohol away,
it's going to taste different.
It changes. It's going to taste different, and it's going to feel different. If you cannot do alcohol, I feel like athletic is a pretty decent substitute. I think my favorite NA beer is Bauhaus's NA Lager.
Oh.
NAH.
Yeah.
I think it was started out as their like non-alcoholic version of their Home Guy Helles way back in the day. But that's a pretty good one. Summit's NA Stout is pretty decent too.
Yeah.
Have you ever had NA Guinness?
No.
It's really good.
Well, we shouldn't talk about Guinness.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, right. R.I.P. the best guinea pig in the entire world.
Oh, I mean that too.
Oh, what were you going to say? Guinness.
I haven't had like a regular Guinness.
Oh, what? You haven't?
Nope.
Wait, that's okay. That's just my mind is blown. How do you
make it this far in life?
Well, right. Well, yeah. So have you never been to an Irish pub?
I mean, yeah, but I've ordered something else. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll have to go to the Dubliner in St. Paul, the best pint of Guinness in the state. I will fight you if you say otherwise. It is. There's no debate. Guinness
I've been to the Dubliner. I did not order a Guinness.
The Dubliner is the best. The Guinness is the best at the Dubliner. And I will have a thumb war with anybody who says otherwise.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's an interesting little Courtney factoid. I did not know that.
I have no excuses.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You know, this is going to shock you. I've never seen the entire Karate Kid. Right? Exactly.
It's not one of my favorites, so I'm not going to be. Yeah. I thought you were going to toss out like a different movie.
So we're the same age. What's an iconic 80s movie that you think like if you haven't seen this movie, you didn't even grow up in the 80s?
I mean, I have a coworker who hasn't seen the original Star Wars movies, and I don't know how that happens.
Well, they clearly are allergic to joy and happiness.
Yeah.
Because those are epic.
Exactly. There are just some movies. It doesn't seem to matter how old you are. You've seen them.
That's true. Yeah. And I get a lot of crap for not having seen the Karate Kid, but I just like.
I don't remember liking the Karate Kid, so I will not give you a shocked like, oh, how dare you, Dan?
Well, and I tried to watch it, and I'm just this sucks. It was like 2 years ago. I tried to watch the Karate Kid. I'm like, nah, it's not grabbing me. I don't get what all the fuss is about. But growing up, my middle name is Santiago. So when everybody was calling me Daniel San, I think they were just like shortening my middle name.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. They're like, like, like in the Karate Kid. I'm like, is his name Santiago too? And it just like, that's probably why I was deemed undateable for the majority of my high school years. What's next? So we got to Waldman on Friday and then got a reasonable night's sleep. Then Saturday rolled around and we went to St. Paul Brewing.
Yes.
What did you think of that? That was your first time there, was it not?
So
no. Well,
no,
okay.
I've been to that location when it was Flat Earth Brewing.
Okay, but you had not been inside since it completely changed.
I had not been there since it changed hands.
So we can count that as your
Brewing.
first time.
Yes,
to
because
St.
it's
Paul
totally
Brewing.
different.
And it's so much better.
Yeah.
Like I can't emphasize that enough. That if you're like, well, I'm not gonna, because I was kind of guilty of this myself. I hadn't been there in a while, and I was like, yeah, I mean the beer was fine when it changed over. It's so different now. I think there's way more resources. There's way more like things, and the brewer is finally able to brew his beers.
Oh.
And they're really good.
Yes.
Like top to bottom. You could just literally spin a wheel, pick a beer, regardless of style. You can trust that it's made well, and I just think it's great. And the patio is awesome. It's very eclectic. The inside area, and we didn't even explore the whole thing because we were on a little bit of a time crunch, but there's a lot of cool stuff there.
Yes.
And I've heard the food is amazing. I have yet to eat there.
I mean, we were looking at the food as it came
Yeah,
out,
people kept
and it was
getting
making
stuff.
me very
I was like,
hungry.
oh man, I'm gonna need a pretzel soon. So yeah, I would recommend a visit to St. Paul Brewing, even not for Oktoberfest.
The patio area is what I remember most of it when I was there when it was Flat Earth. The patio area was just kind of like ruins of a building that were left over. There was graffiti on stuff. It was all just a dirt patio with some chairs and some seating. It was nothing like super fancy, but in the style of a ruins area, it felt kind of unique and fun.
Oh, very, very unique.
But what St. Paul Brewing has done with it is beyond. They have just added to it. They have made it, they've kept the ruins kind of feel like that structure is still there. There's more graffiti, which more looks like they've had artists come in and purposely put up artwork graffiti instead. There's lots and lots of tables. They all seem to have umbrellas over them, so it is very nice and shaded back there. And for as packed as those tables are, each table still looks like it's a cozy little intimate experience with your table mates.
And different style seating.
Different style seating.
We grabbed the kind of like the bench at the tiki bar area.
Yeah.
And then you were
We
like,
were elevated.
oh, hey, there's a table with swings for chairs. I'm like, nope, not going to do that because I would have face planted and spilled my beer. And about 5 minutes later, some 4 or 5-year-old kid is on there swinging, of course, does a face plant, instant tears, instant
Screaming.
meltdown. I'm like, oh geez, I could have warned the kid that was a bad idea. I don't know,
or
like
it could have been you screaming and crying, Dan.
I would be like, do I get free beer for life? No, you decided to add gravity into the equation. So I think, their patio is really cool. So many different little artistic pieces, like you said, the graffiti on the walls, the different areas, the plants. I mean, they've done a lot of work out there.
Gorgeous.
I mean, it's like a tropical paradise. And then because it was Oktoberfest, they had 2 ginormous skeletons with like lederhosen and hats and beer steins. And I thought that was really cool.
It was super cool. The decorations outside were amazing.
Yep. And they also had both a Marzen and a Fest beer.
Yes.
They were both really good. I would happily drink lots of those again. It was just a really fun thing. And they had a Stein holding contest, which I feel like
I had a little bit of a beef.
You had some issues
with the Stein holding.
Explain why your gears were grinding.
We saw 2 rounds of the Stein holding contest, and then we also watched they had a costume contest.
Oh, yeah.
In the 2 rounds. So just to be fair, we've seen Stein holding contests at other Oktoberfest locations.
Yes.
Lupulin, for example, laid out the rules before they started the Stein holding contest. You need to be holding your mug in this very specific way. Your arm needs to be straight.
Yep.
It needs to be extended from your
full
body.
extension, no bend in the elbow.
Yeah, they were hardcore about those rules.
Yep.
St. Paul Brewing was not as hardcore about their
No,
rules. So
no.
both rounds that we watched, the winners had bent elbows. And you could hear people in the audience, straighten your arm, straighten your arm. But nobody told those guys that they needed to straighten their arms. And I think there were some people that were kind kind of ripped off from winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, you have to have your arm out.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard, because it's very difficult to do that.
You bend your arm, it gets a little easier, a little more comfortable.
The one thing I would say is, like, when you enter the Stein holding contest at St. Paul Brewing, I think they fill up your beer for free, which is kind of nice. Because at Lupulin, they had water in the Steins, which I'm like, I get that. But, like, had I known that they would have given you a free beer, I might have done
You would have done it.
Stein holding contest. And I would have had my elbow straight, because that's how you do it.
I'm practicing for next year. I have a training program.
Courtney is now brandishing a cinder block, and she's holding it like she means it.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
And then the costume contest.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of people up there for the costume contest, and they said that they were going to determine the winner based on, like, the audience response. So there was a woman named Hannah, great costume on, lots of loud cheering. We were cheering for her, the table next to us. She easily won by the crowd.
Yep.
But then they said, well, we're just going to have this other random guy come up and make a determination. And so we all cheered again. Hannah still by far had the loudest response, but he awarded the winner to a couple and their very small infant child that was strapped to the woman's chest.
Yeah.
Okay, cute. It's a family in a costume, but they didn't win.
Yeah. It was, little cute kid bias.
Yes.
That's what struck.
From
I think
the
there
one
just
guy.
needs to be standards for that.
I like rules, Dan. I
Yeah.
like people following rules.
Yeah. I'm not usually a rule follower, but in that instance, I think I tend to agree with you.
If you give me the parameters for a contest, that's it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. But aside from that, it was a great experience.
Fantastic.
We had a lot of fun there. I ran into a former student,
Oh my God, that was so great.
Tiadre. I used to call him Tater because his name is capital T dash capital A lowercase DRE. I had him in 8th grade speech a long time ago because he was, I think we did the math. I think we figured out he was 30. So this would have been 15 years ago.
Oh, geez.
Thereabouts. Yes. Back when I had hopes and dreams. My knees didn't make popcorn every time I walked around. But yeah, that was really cool. So he works for the company, the parent company of St. Paul Brewing, which also owns Can Wonderland. And he does art, he does sculpture maintenance and fabrications. So he makes new sculptures, fixes the sculptures that need a little bit of TLC. And I was just so happy to run into him. He seems really happy with life. So
it was very fun to watch the exchange and watch the conversation between the two of you. And it just makes me think I should go back to my former teachers and be like, hey, you were really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot. So that was fun. And then you got to meet. So when we recapped, one of the big, exciting, adorable things of the All Pints North weekend was when Friday night when we were at Bent Paddle, Matt Kennevan brought in their new puppy,
Yes.
who I think at the time was maybe 6 weeks old.
I thought it was like 8 or 10.
Okay, yeah.
He was just a little guy.
Very little, very cute. A puppy named Louie.
Yes.
And then when we walked in to St. Paul Brewing, Jeannie Kennevan, Matt's wife and Louie's mom, flagged us down and chatted with us. And we were walking, I'm like, oh, you've met her dog and her husband before. And you were like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, at Bent Paddle. That was like, and you're like, oh, so.
It's like, how dare you not tell me sooner?
Right, exactly. Well, you didn't tell me you were a sipper until 5 minutes into the podcast.
All right, we're even.
People who live in glass houses should not throw stones. So that was kind of fun when you got to say you met Louie and had a little dog talk, and
yes,
that was fun. But we couldn't stay. I would have stayed longer. I think that would have been fun. But we also wanted to get over to Wandering Leaf, because they were also having their Oktoberfest, and they had a lot going on there.
If you're keeping track, this is like our weekend in St. Paul.
Yes, weekend in St. Paul. Also, I should mention that St. Paul Brewing is also a brew pub.
Yep.
So if you're not strictly a beer person, they have wine. They have fantastic cocktails. They have all sorts of fun stuff. Food. Yeah. So and we're going to talk about brew pubs a little later in the show because I've got just a little bit of a couple of factoids for that. But Wandering Leaf, where we recorded our last episode, is a great place in St. Paul to go. Lots of plants, lots of greenery. They were having their Oktoberfest. They do a really nice job of their festivals and beer events because they always seem to get good music, good food trucks. I love Red Rocket Pizza.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. It gets the right amount of char on the crust. The crust has a nice elasticity, and I like the flavor of the sauce. Got a little zing to it, and I always go with the sausage and pepperoni. Not exciting, but it's like kind of set your watch to it. It's a consistent flavor.
It's like getting a Pilsner.
Yep.
You know what you should be getting with the sausage and pepperoni.
Yes, exactly.
This is a very Dan thing.
Yeah, I'll be off the wall in certain areas of my life. I'll do weird stuff and try different things, but like sometimes I do just want the norm.
Yeah.
I've often been accused of being boring when I go to a restaurant because once I find something I really like, I just order it every time. When I go to the Nook, I always get the same burger. They've got probably 30 different burgers there that are all probably good, but I like what I like, and I just want that consistency. So Wandering Leaf was a good time. They had a fest beer on.
Yes, they did.
Also, they have a really nice just variety of other things there. They have always a great Czech Pilsner on. They always have a great, like an English porter. It's a little bit roastier. It's not quite as hoppy as an American style porter. Very good. They also have a variety of NA options there.
Really good NA options that they make.
Well, and probably one of the major reasons why that is because their head brewer does not drink. So a year and change being sober for Erica, which is
That's
a
amazing.
major accomplishment. That's very cool. You know, she understands the importance of being inclusive to people that either choose not to drink, are taking a break from alcohol, maybe can't because they're on like a medication. There's a variety of reasons why one might want a non-alcoholic beer, and they do have some very good ones. But when we got there, well... We always, get invited to play a round of Ham's disc golf in the brew house, which is a really fun tradition. And the idea is, so one thing I'd like to say is that the first, I can't remember, maybe 10 times I played, you go back there and you shotgun
go in the back room.
You go in the brew house and you shotgun a Ham's.
Yep.
And they've done away with you have to shotgun a Ham's. Now you could just sip it like a member of high society, like a sipper.
Like a sipper.
Like a super important pint. What does it stand for again?
Super important person.
Super important person.
Yeah.
Okay. You can sip your Hams like a person of the upper crust of society. Oh, I still like to shotgun it. I think shotgunning is kind of fun. But you do that and then you crush it with your foot. And however you crush it is exactly, you get one chance to crush it.
Okay, I didn't know this before. I'd played before, but I didn't realize until this last time. You can only crush it once.
Right.
You
can only crush it once.
Stomp it.
So you get one shot at it, and then you stand behind a line, and there's like a 5-gallon. Is it a 5-gallon bucket?
It's like a garbage can.
Yeah, like a bucket, and you basically have 3. It's like a par 3.
Yeah.
You have 3 shots to get that crushed can of Hams into the bucket. And I don't know how you manage this, but it's like...
Okay, wait, let's talk about the first time I played, because that one was really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first time you played, I thought it was going to be a hole-in-one. You almost got it into one shot.
It was amazing.
It was almost an eagle.
And I won that day, and I got to put my name on the door, so I'm like enshrined at Wandering Leaf.
Yes.
However...
Well, everybody gets to... if you play and you get... if you play, you put your name up there. Now, if you get to put a notch, that means you...
I got a notch.
Yeah. So you did 1 under par, which is pretty good.
I thought it was just because I beat the rest of you.
No, sorry. It was like if you get it in 2, that's like 1 under par. Now that day was the first time I got an eagle, so I did not. I got 1 over par, and that's why mine.
Wait, an eagle is under.
Or no, not eagle. Yeah, not an eagle.
A bogey would be over.
I got a bogey, and that's why I used a green pen to mark my score. So that was disappointing. So this time around, I don't know what happened. Did you close your eye? Did you get bit by a spider?
Okay.
What
I think I was a little frazzled because I felt like I did a really good job of drinking my Hams quickly. I didn't slam it, I didn't shotgun it, but I feel like I drank it quickly, and I was really excited about it. So when I went to crush it, I crushed it like 5 times.
Yeah.
And then you guys were all looking at me with these gaping mouths and wide eyes like, why did you do that? You could only do that once.
Yeah, it was a major party foul.
And then I felt really, really bad, and I got really nervous about it, and I went to do my little toss of the can, and it went awry.
You chucked it. It went like... If you're looking at a clock and you're at 6 p.m., you were aiming for the 12.
Yeah.
It wound up at the 3, and maybe
generous.
like the 4. I'm like, how the hell? I didn't understand the physics behind that. And then luckily it fell down, or you would have had to climb up on the shelf.
I thought it was up higher. I was ready to climb.
Yeah.
I was told I could climb.
And that would have been real funny. Then I would have got out the camera and videoed it. But yeah,
it was the most horrific throw
What did
I've
you
ever
wind
done.
up with? How many did it take you to get?
I ended up getting, so that was 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so you got par.
I got part.
But
I didn't get
you
a
didn't
notch.
get to put a notch.
Yeah.
So that'll be next time. Because I love going there and doing that.
I promise,
think it's
Wandering
fun.
Leaf. I promise I can do better.
And if you're like, hey, I'm driving, they have NA stuff, so you don't have to you do not have to drink a beer to play.
I do want to give a shout out to their Tangerine Sour NA. I would put that up against any regular sour beverage, and it's phenomenal.
They just do a nice job with flavors, I think.
Yeah.
For Halloween, they usually do a bunch of different ones, and I know that last year they had a beet sour that was pretty good.
Their beet Saison. Did I say it correctly?
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I don't like beets, and that's really good.
Beets are yummy. And I like beet beer, too. I think my favorite beet beer that I've ever had is the Med City Beet from Little Thistle Brewing down in Rochester. So Wandering Leaf was fun. We
Super fun.
played the game, hung out, had pizza, listened to some music, and that was the...
Chucked some hams cans.
And that was the end of the Oktoberfest weekend. But I wanted to talk a little bit about brewpubs.
Yeah.
Since we've been going to them a lot. And if you're paying attention to the local craft beer scene, there's been some breweries that have kind of changed over.
Some conversions.
Yeah, a lot of breweries are converting to brewpubs. And you might be wondering, how is a brewpub different from a brewery? Well, I will tell you. Basically, a brewpub is a brewery that has a kitchen and serves food. It
Yes.
doubles as a restaurant. Now, some might say, wait a minute. I've been to Urban Growler in St. Paul. They serve food. They're not a brewpub. Breweries can have a kitchen. The difference with a brewery is that they can also distribute. So you can go to the liquor store and find Urban Growler cans on the shelves.
Yes.
Brewpubs cannot do that. So like Northbound, Forager, St. Paul Brewing, Waldman Brewing, Forgotten Stars recently switched over within the last year. Omni just switched over to a brewpub. A lot of breweries are going to be doing that.
So we're going to serve food, but we're not going to distribute.
Yep. You might be wondering, well, why would you do that? Well, if you're a brewpub, you can also pour guest beers.
Oh.
You can pour wine and you can pour liquor. Right now, liquor is very popular, especially if you're not a beer drinker.
Yeah.
And the profit margins on booze are insane. That is financially, brewpubs make a lot of sense if you're not trying to distribute.
Yeah.
Now, when I first got into craft beer, a lot of brewpubs were like, well, we should be able to distribute too. I get that beef.
Yeah.
But from a standpoint of appealing to a wider audience, I think there is a lot of appeal for a brewpub. So, thinking about, I was just at Northbound. They do really great food and they do really great beer. And, if you want, we were there, about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It was the end of the night. I usually, at the end of the night, feel like maybe having a cocktail and mixing it up. And I did.
Yeah.
I had their Canadian Old Fashioned. It was delicious. So brewpubs, in addition to being able to pour guest taps and have, cider, wine, and liquor, they have a cap. They can only produce up to 3,500 barrels of beer a year, unless they have they open another location. So Town Hall Brewery, when they were just that brewery, they could brew up to 3,500 barrels of beer a year.
Okay.
That is a lot. I think if I'm remembering my interview with Andy at Northbound correctly, I think Northbound does about 500 barrels a year. So if you're small, you're not going to come. Northbound is not going to come anywhere close to 3,500 barrels of beer in a year unless they expand it. So Town Hall has a pretty large restaurant, and every time they expand, that number goes up another 3,500 barrels. So now Town Hall Brewery has the brewery, the lanes, the tap, and the station. So 3,500 times 4 is 78,000 barrels of beer. No, it's not. It's, what is that, 12? It's like 1,400 barrels. So if they just sold a ton of beer, that would be the number that they could get up to brewing-wise. So there's pros and cons to that. I think right now a lot of places are finding that being able to just serve beer kind of puts them at a bit of a disadvantage because of how people's drinking habits have changed. I don't know that there's a narrative out there that people are drinking less. I don't necessarily know if I believe that. I do think that people are maybe not, I think they're drinking differently.
Yes.
So, if you have food, if you have like the option for a cocktail or even an NA cocktail, although I think you can do an NA cocktail at a brewery too, now that I think about it. It's just different. People want more options now, and so breweries are becoming in vogue. I think you're going to see a lot more breweries switching over to the brewpub model in the not too distant future. So that's just something to keep an eye on. And there was also the question of it, and it used to be that a brewpub had to have like a certain percentage of their sales needed to be food. In talking to Andy, I think they've done away with that. That was a thing about 10 years ago, but I think they took that out of the law. But the big thing is like if you're a brewpub, you can't distribute. That's the big negative, but you can have other options and other guest taps.
I feel like I just want to let everybody do what their heart wants them to do.
I agree. I think a universal license would be the way to go, especially now that there is so much variety, and I think that would also give breweries just another option and might get more customers in. But then you wonder if like everybody has that, then how do you differentiate? And I don't know. There's just kind of an ever-changing, ever-shifting playing field where I feel like sometimes what has worked for a number of years all of a sudden kind of like for whatever reason becomes not the best option. And so I always think people should just have choice and figure that out. And then obviously you wouldn't have to totally change your model if there was a universal license. But I mean, if you opened up a brewery and you could have like a kitchen and that's a whole nother headache and cost
it's a
and
lot.
overhead.
If you wanted to do all of those things, that's a lot to take on, and that's not something that everybody could do anyway.
Right. And like, I mean, a place like LTD, they've got a small operation here in the grand scheme of things, and if they wanted to have a kitchen, that's a whole nother collection of headaches and expenses. And so there's a food truck parked out there right now, so there's a lot. I think there's flexibility being a brewery too. It's just when you think about cocktails and wine, it is what it is. I don't know. I think there's room for everybody under the tent, but I think the change to more people converting to brew pubs is definitely very interesting.
Brewpub knowledge.
Right.
Dan, we have a milestone that you are gunning for on Untapped.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not something I'm not obsessed with it, but the other day I noticed I'm kind of getting close to 5,000.
You're aware of it.
5,000 check-ins. So just as I was thinking about this, I checked in the LTD beer, the German Pilsner, and now I'm up to 4780 for
unique beers. Yeah.
So that's the number I'm concerned about, because I think that's, some people check in every beer they have and they got like 15,000. It's like, well, then you look and like, okay, half of these are Blue Moons after softball. And it's like,
But there's two numbers in Untapped. There's your unique beers, and then there's also just the number of check-ins, which could include duplicates.
Yes.
But your unique beers, we're looking at 5K.
Yeah. We're getting close.
That's going to be a milestone. We need to be preparing for what that 5K beer is going to be.
Yeah,
where it's
I wonder.
Gonna be.
That's a good question. Because it'll probably, I don't know, it'll probably happen in this winter.
When it happens, there's going to be like
spring.
Balloons and confetti that start falling from the sky.
For sure, there's going to be some sort of edible arrangement. I'm guessing that'll be in the cards. Yeah, I don't know. I do have some beers in my cellar that I'm kind of saving for a special occasion. So maybe that would be the time to do one of those. And I think that could be fun.
It could happen at your holiday party.
Yeah, very well. Yeah. Well, I'd have to get on my horse then, because I still am over 100 away. People think I drink a lot of beer. I go to a lot of beer places, but when I go to Northbound, I usually go with their Pravi pills. When I go to Arbeiter, I go with their Haha pills. So there's not a ton of unique beers. Usually the big beer check-in spikes happen when I go on a beer trip. So I think I did a bunch. It was easily over 100 new beers when I was in Boise.
What I'm hearing though is that when we go out for a beer, I should be making sure that you have something that you haven't had, instead of going for your tried and true
be
beer.
Mindful of that. Sure. I always like to try new things. So I'll keep at it. So maybe we'll have to do a special show for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, one thing I'm excited about, and I don't know if we talked about this last episode. Oh God, it's been a week. It's only Wednesday. I'm brewing a beer at Heavy Rotation.
Yes.
And it's going to be a Belgian Dark Strong, which is kind of along the lines. The BJCP changed their style guidelines. There used to be a Belgian quad category. Now it's just called Belgian Dark Strong. So we're going to brew a Belgian Dark Strong at Heavy Rotation on Thursday, October 16th.
That's coming up quickly.
So I'm very excited to hang out with Josh for a day of brewing and pick his brain and just watch him in action. And he'll get a couple action shots of me cleaning out the mash tun, but I'm sure he won't let me do anything that could possibly jeopardize the somebody's wearing the same shirt as me. That's great.
That's awesome.
Where somebody could jeopardize, he won't let me jeopardize the beer.
Yes,
so the beer is going to be
smart of
fabulous.
him.
I'm very excited about that. Heavy Rotation's a brewery that I've really enjoyed over the years as I've gotten to know everybody over there, and I'm really excited that we're going to do a collaboration, and then there's going to be a release party when the beer comes out, and I think we're going to do a live show there, a live episode of a 1 pint stand in the tap room. So that'll be fun. When I get more details on that, I'll pass them along.
I need to add it to my beer calendar.
We could get some cross-pollination of audiences. It'll be like that episode of Seinfeld where they started going to that alternative coffee shop and the two groups of friends met. It'll be, see if I'm curious how much of the Venn diagram of our audience is, how many people listen to the Brewery Adventure and a 1 pint stand. How many of them have ever met each other in the wild? That could be real fun.
This is going to be our social
experiment. It could be like a mixer back in the day when they'd have like a dance and they called it a mixer. And be like, okay, everybody, keep 1 foot apart. No slow dancing. So that could be fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you guys come up with for a beer.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the name. I've been trying to come up with a name because some of their
they've got good names at Heavy Rotation.
They do, and so I feel like I have to bring my A game with this naming the beer thing. See what Josh's ideas are. So we'll probably chat about that when we brew. What do you have coming up on your beer horizon?
I mean, my beer horizon is looking at next weekend and going to Twin City Oktoberfest, which I've never been to.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to say this right, Giesenbrau?
Giesenbräu.
Giesenbräu.
Yeah.
I'll get it right sometime.
That's like the Czech pronunciation of it.
I'll work on it.
Yeah. You would think it would be Brau, but it's Bräu, which
Brau,
is
like
funny
Frau.
because their fest beer name is Bräu, like oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
And I'm like, that's how I remember it in my head. But yeah, they just did a fresh hop beer. So we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to drink on Saturday.
We've got that coming up. We have Autumn Brew Review coming up.
Oh, Autumn Brew Review. That's
I'm so
right.
Excited.
I got to get on my horse. I got to see if they've got their beer list up.
That came out today.
Did it?
It came out today.
Well, that is very exciting because that means I gotta look at the list and I gotta put my preview article together. I can write that tomorrow because I have the day off of work, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, this will be my first Autumn Brew Review. One of many for you.
Yeah, this is gonna be my 14th one.
Oh my gosh!
I started doing it in 2010.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot has changed. Used to be they had regional breweries pouring there. There'd be Bell's, Odell, Great Lakes Brewing, Rogue Brewing, and now it's all local, except for they will have Toppling Goliath will be pouring.
Well, there are some collaborations with out-of-state breweries.
And so that's how they're doing that. But yeah, I'm real excited about that. That'll be fun.
I was excited about it already, and then I listened to a 1 pint stand to your preview episode that you did, and immediately
with Bob and Lindsay.
Yep. Immediately you started talking about llamas.
Yeah, that's right.
And I did not know that llamas were going to be part of these festivities.
Go pet a llama and drink some beer. Hopefully the weather's nice. I hope it gets a little cooler, but one year it was like Woodstock. It was real muddy. People were like slipping and sliding all over the place. That was not great.
I have gear for that.
I have waterproof hiking boots that I can wear for stuff like that. So.
I can be ready for mud. But I was excited about the llamas, and I was also excited there was Curling Connections. They're going to do iceless curling.
Yeah.
And Dan, I remember at All Pints North, I tried to get you to do like the little tricycle activity. Well, and I
didn't have my helmet. I can get pretty fast on
I was
those
okay
things.
with you turning that down, but you cannot turn down the curling stuff. We are curling. It's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome.
I have horrible knees, so trying to get
It'll
down.
Be fine.
Well, I guess if I get enough beers in me, anything's on the table. So I might just want to curl up with a llama after that. So
you can only play with the llamas if you do the curling.
Oh, jeez. It's the first brewery adventure ultimatum. You heard it here first, folks. It's It happened, and that's
It only took how many episodes? Not many.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to be off to some more adventures next time. Our next episode will be on a beer and cheese tasting event. We went to one a couple weeks ago at Boom Island Brewing.
We did.
They have another one coming up in November, and we are going to sit down with Laura and Christine and talk about these beer and cheese pairings that they do together. That I had such a fun night. It was absolutely amazing. Would recommend to everyone. We will be recommending to everyone next week when we do a deep dive into their event.
Beer and cheese, so much fun. Because cheese
can't
on
go
its
wrong.
own is great. Beer on its own is great. You put them together, double great.
I mean, one of their pairings made me cry.
That's true.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you've ever been out with Courtney and she starts openly weeping, it gets a little gnarly.
It's going to be because of beer and cheese.
That's right. That's right. That's the emotional breaking point, folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was all I could take.
That's right. So and everybody else there was just silent.
Yeah. Just ignore me.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm excited to have that conversation as well.
I'm excited too because also they are just two really fun people to talk to. So I think we're going to have a good time.
And that's the next episode.
That is the next
But if people want to
episode.
be on the ball and look for tickets, they could probably go to Boom Island Brewing's website.
I
and
don't know
just
if they have tickets out for the November event yet.
But just have it on their radar.
Blue Island Brewing
Because you don't want to miss out.
No.
I mean, and you want to be front and center because
it's like a comedy show plus beer and cheese.
Yeah, they have a nice dynamic, the cheesemaker and the owner.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Dan, where can people find you in between episodes?
So if you're looking to see what's going on with a One Pint Stand, you can follow a One Pint Stand on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Mastodon, TikTok. If you're looking to support the podcast, I have a Patreon, and that's there's some cool perks for very reasonable prices on there.
Super cheap.
And there's, for every episode I do, there's always a Patreon version that is a little bit more extra footage. The highlight of my last episode was at Little Thistle. We started interviewing Steve, the co-owner, and Nico, the head brewer. And by the time we finished, Dawn, the other co-owner, Steve's wife, had shown up. She works at the Mayo Clinic, and she jumped on for the Patreon part. Where, so when they hired Nico, she had to fire Steve because he was listed as head brewer.
Oh, no.
For like a bookkeeping thing. I guess I just kind of gave the Patreon thing away. There was other stuff on there. We did a deep dive in some pretty cool 90s comedy moments. So if you want to go check that out, go to the Patreon. But yeah, and always a onepintstand.com is the website where you can find all the links to the episodes. And I've got a lot more written content coming out. So a lot of beer stuff. And keep your eyes open for my Autumn Brew Review preview.
Yes.
That can be very helpful.
Yeah, I used your All Pints North preview
That's right.
to take a peek at
And
what
I did not lead you astray.
You absolutely did not. It was a great list.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the same for Autumn Brew Review.
Yeah. How can people find The Brewery Adventure?
You can find The Brewery Adventure on Instagram, The Brewery Adventure, our website, thebreweryadventure.com, or you can email me, Courtney at thebreweryadventure.com. Those are all the things.
Yeah, that's perfect.
In the meantime, we strongly recommend you go check out some craft breweries in your area. Places you've been to, places you haven't been to. Just go support your local brewery.
Yeah, they need it right now.
That's it for us. We will see you on the next brewery adventure. We can't even clink glasses right now.
No.
So we're going to have...
They took my glass.
They took your glass away, Dan.
Oh, well. We'll get one of those instead.
That's just as good as a clink.
Right.
All right. We will see you later on the brewery adventure.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
I guess I drank my beer too fast.
Well, I had 4 more ounces than you did.
That's true. So it's your fault.
It's my fault.
All right.